Hello, YouTube Nation. This is Tony Sheree, and I'm kind of in the mood to actually do some talking videos other than my concert stuff that I usually put on my YouTube channel. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is I had an experience at a rock concert a while ago. It's been a few years ago. That actually kind of made me feel unsafe being at a rock concert, but how competent security can actually change that situation to where you actually feel all right being there. So I'm going to set the Wayback Machine to February of 2017. I was in Wichita, Kansas with my brother, and we saw the band Avenged Sevenfold. They had two openers. One was Bullet My Valentine, which were pretty good. The other one was band called Breaking Benjamin. They were great. I thought they were wonderful, and they kind of re-energized my uh, love for them because I kind of fell out of favor with them because I just kind of. But that's another thing altogether. But anyway, the headliner was Avenged Sevenfold. Well, whenever you get done with one band and have to go to the other, you have a breakdown and an upbringing of the event, the headliners get rigged. So whenever they come on stage, they got everything all ready to go. They got the musical instruments ready to go. Well, Avenged Sevenfold had their stage set up where they kind of had a little bit of they call them ego ramps that actually came out of the main stage and actually came out a good 40, 50 feet from the actual main stage. Kind of gives the audience a better view from the back, of the headliner because I can actually see the, you know, musicians on stage just a little bit better, and it kind of gives the people on the floor a little bit better view of the musicians. In fact, I took some pictures of the band, and it turned out to be really well. But getting back to my story, uh, during this breakdown period where they were breaking down Breaking Benjamin's musical instruments and actually bringing Vince Sevenfold stuff up online. There was this one guy, and he was either drunk or whatever. I don't know what it is. But he was just, he started out on the right hand, and I was on the right hand part of the stage, and there's a lot of people and stuff going through there. And he was just going through the whole entire crowd and actually just bowling people over, you know. And he did that 10, 15 people. And I'm thinking, well, that's not cool that you just sit there just, bowling people. When I say bowling people, I'm talking about getting your strength up into them and actually, trying to knock people on their, knock them on their rear ends, let's just put it that way. So he did that to about 10, 15 people, and he was just so belligerent about it. And he got up to me, and he kind of almost did the same thing to me. And I was done. I'm just like, okay, whatever this guy is doing is it's not cool. You don't do that. There's mosh pitting, and there's some stuff that happens in the mosh pits that you have to subscribe to as being in the mosh pit. Well, this was not even in the concert, even just being a butthole face about, just trying to get people knocked on their freaking butts and giving a bad night. So I automatically got a little bit pissed. I didn't engage him. But what happened was I just decided, screw it. So I started the motion at the security. I started, I made the motion, There are certain motions that if you're in the crowd, you make, and security knows something's going on. And sure enough, they started coming over to this side of the stage. And they had this one guy kind of looking the thing over, and he started getting on his headphone set. And I guess the person that tried to bowl me over got maybe about 15 feet in back of me. And he started making some pretty threatening jabs at me because I was wearing a Metallica t-shirt, and he goes, I don't know about you all, but that person that's wearing the Metallica t-shirt, I'm going to beat the piss out of the motherfucker for getting security involved in all this stuff. And I really kind of started feeling unsafe about what was going on, you know. But I had that one security guard right there. He did not move one single bit from his position. He kept his eye on me the whole time. And I guess what happened was security had heard enough, and they actually had him removed from the concert. Uh, but that security guard that was watching over me while all this was going on stayed in that position. He watched our side of the freaking stage all night. So by the time Avenged Sevenfold came on, I felt comfortable enough that I could actually enjoy the show, and actually had a great time, and had a bunch of people around me. We were having a good time. And so I walked up to the security guard later on, kind of told him, I said, I kind of wanted to explain what happened, so he kind of had some context of why he was pulled over there. He knew what was going on. Uh, in fact, he already had why he was. I didn't see him, but I guess he had already done talk to security and actually had that guy tossed out, because he said, "Yeah, we can't have people on the floor verbally threatening to actually do harm to another person at a concert." And from then on, they made sure they actually had somebody watching over me to make sure I got. In fact, he said, if you really want to, we can actually get you an escort to your car, since the concert's over with, just to make sure he's not going to do anything to you. And I said, I appreciate it, but I think I can handle it. I had cell phone, my brother was with me. So if anything happened, he could call 911. So we got out to the car and nothing happened and everything. But it was like the one time I was actually at a concert, I just didn't really feel safe being at for a little bit. But security actually made it work to where I could feel happy about being there. And I just wanted to actually share this experience with you. And that's all I really want to say about that. That's all I want. And you guys have a good one. Bye bye.